Hello, Basha. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hello,
Good.
Heather. It's good to see you here.
You too. Thank you for doing your online yoga classes. They're really inspirational.
My pleasure. Because our studio right now, of course, is in a lockdown, but we're not on a lockdown. There's a lot of students that are still practicing. I'm practicing, so why not share it and why not get it together and share it online? It's in our homes, but it's the second best.
Right. And you've taught all over the world, haven't you? Your yoga classes, your teacher training has been in Asia and God knows where else.
Well, I combine two passion for yoga, for arts of healing, and travel. So I can do both travel and teach in different parts of the world. And one thing that I notice that even though we have different cultures, different strategies how to look at life, underneath all this, we're all the same.
That's true. And you link Chinese medicine to a lot of the things you do, incorporating body, mind, spirit, and so on. But you're also an executive coach. What is that?
It sounds very pompous.
No.
But I think of it as a space holder for people to figure out things that they may already know, but it is helping people to organize their mind and organize what they already know and look at gifts, look at the core values, and then reshape to see what they really want, what they're very good at, and apply their strategies that we can co-creatively come up with. I basically don't do all that much. I hold a space for them to be brilliant,
Well, it sounds like that's a
or even in personal life.
right. Well, it sounds like this is the perfect time to employ some of those strategies because I think if we're going to come through this on top, we have to just readjust our our focus and what we feel is important. I think it's everyone's saying that, it's coming home to ourselves and spending more time with those things that those people and things that we really value.
Well, whenever everything is working wonderfully, we're on the beach sipping margaritas. It is a wonderful time to recover, to relax. But we're really not working very hard, and we're not really growing. Usually, when the yogurt hits the fan, this is where the life universal begins, and it's difficult, but it comes with a lot of gifts because now, even though the brain is going to sweat a little bit to try to figure itself out, this is where new ideas, where creativity, when change happens, and it's scary,
Yes.
but it's exciting.
Yes. Well, change is always good in the end, but getting there can sometimes be all of those emotions that are not the best, let's say. Although I
Well,
suppose it's the way you look at it.
change brings up a lot of different emotions, and uh, the first thing that often we do, at least I do when I'm not checking with myself, is to shrink and to start putting up fires, to get distracted, to become a little chaotic and maybe anxious, a little bit scared, and trying to go back, right, left, out, in, out, and focus on little details that often are not in our control. So my strategy, if I remember, it's a work in progress, is to try to come back more to the universals, to inside, and try to figure out what is important to me. Why am I here on this earth? I mean, really, if you think about it, we're just a spit in the universe. It's a temporary occurrence. And if I ask myself, why am I here? What is it that I really want? It helps me to focus within me and regroup and reevaluate what is actually happening. So
It
for
reminds me of it reminds me of Viktor Frankl's book Man's Search for Meaning, which I bought all three of my children, and then one promptly let dog eat it. But it's a small book, but it's got such universal truths in it, and really, it's about having a purpose to your life, no matter what life throws at you.
I believe that having this purpose, or at least paying attention to trying to figure out what is it that you want, what are your true values, And even if you don't know why you're on this planet Earth, and you say, well, am I an accident or is it an act of God? Ultimately, who cares? Now, you're here. So what are you going to do with it, and how are you going to take advantage of being here? In my case, please forgive me, and I'm okay, I'm coughing still. In my case, I think of this life as an opportunity to learn, to experience everything that I can. And that includes the fun stuff and challenging stuff. And basically, just like I like to become physically fit, I go to the gym, I practice yoga, I try to get good diet and release the tension in the body. I also am even more interested in how to become mentally fit, because when I am mentally fit, I thrive. I become more clear, I become happier, and I can deal with that yogurt hitting the fan much better. It's funny, Heather, we all pay tons of money to go to the gym. We hire personal trainers, we spend tons of money, and what happens? They make us make our life terrible, difficult. We go to the gym, we sweat it, we put loads of heavy weight, we tremble, we experience a wide vocabulary because it's tough. We
Right.
pay for it, and we kind of, in a perverted kind of way, like it. The harder it is, the more excited we are, and the more money we pay. So
Interesting.
notice, we could think of it as taking our mental health the same way. When the yogurt hits the fan, we could get excited and we don't even have to pay for it. Well, we're going to pay for it somehow. So if we can shift the mind of looking at the situation that is challenging, you can say, heavy weights are coming. We can tremble, we can push it. And this is how we get mentally fit. It brings a lot of opportunity to be creative. If we can't, my studio here is now completely closed. So what
Yeah.
do? I have to learn how to work the Zoom thing. I have to learn how to do go live. I have to learn how to teach in a completely different framework. And I was thinking about it, how to do it, but I would not do it until I was strongly invited, because I don't have a choice. So rather than complaining, I could take advantage and get excited and learn new technology, learn how to reframe it. So instead of being negative, I can become curious and excited, and then bring it all back to me. How can I grow more? What can I learn out of
I think it's also important to remember that what we feed our bodies and what we feed our minds is equally important. So, there can be a lot of really positive stuff by being connected in this way with all the social media and so on. It can also have a tremendously negative impact on our self-talk and on the thoughts that we're having continuously, whether we worry too much about it or we clear our heads, we go outside by ourselves or in groups of two and
6 feet
just,
apart.
yeah, right, exactly, and just clear it all out, reset that inner pattern that we've got going, that's like what if and tomorrow and they're supposed to announce this, and it can really be crazy making.
Well, I think this is a good exercise for everyday life, not in this a little pickle that we found ourselves in, because there is a balance between how much we open up ourselves to the outside world and what do we let in. And on one hand, you need to get informed and you need to check the news. And I'm live here, so go away.
Hi, Mark.
Hello. Hello, you
It's always good to have a buddy too.
Yeah, I recognize the tone, the light
Yeah.
tone.
And the buddy who buds in.
Therefore,
So, if I may, you see, having a guy around, it's not that easy. So, on one hand, we are being drawn outside, and it is important to reach out and see and connect to the world. But at the same time, it's important to see when we have to shut the outside world out and go within and focus on what we feel, what we want, what we know. Otherwise, some people and media can feed this anxiety and fear, and for no reason, because a lot of things is out of our hands. So rather than focus on what we can do, and we can do a lot. I mean, ultimately, what big of a disaster? Maybe you're losing money on the business. For sure. Maybe you can't order on Amazon, and Amazon doesn't send anything. I was going to order some supplies and boom, nothing.
Interesting.
So you can think of it as a reality show. Okay, I'm in a boot camp. I can't buy things. My business is shutting down. So how are you going to survive? And you come up with creative solutions on what are you going to do. Maybe you can figure out how to raise money, or how do you eat on a budget? What do you have in your fridge? And make a game out of it. I mean, ultimately, we still have food. We still have friends. We can talk to people a little bit. I mean, seriously.
It's perspective.
It's inconvenient, but in a way, you're walking down the street and you see people from afar. And guess what? You can wave and you can connect. And it's actually quite wonderful.
Except that I know you miss the hugs, because we're both big huggers.
Well, here. Hug. It will pass. And when it passes, it's going to be very interesting how anything that we do every day now, it changes. How maybe we reconsider, do we need so much stuff? We were able to do just fine for a month without this, without this, without this. Maybe we don't really need it. Maybe we're just stuck. Yeah. So focusing and treating it as a challenge, a little bit as a game, a little bit as a laboratory to see how we can watch our mind and discern what is really real problem and what is just here.
So if people want to learn more about the things you're talking about, how do they find you? Through your website? Through your social media?
The website for sure, Adishesha Yoga Zone. I have a studio. Eventually, we're going to open up, but at the moment, we are on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook. Either find an Adishesha Yoga page, or you can go to the website, and there are links linking to our Facebook page. And eventually, come to the studio when we're open. The way I teach classes, even though it's focused on asana, on therapeutics, I cannot help myself but chip in and add little nuggets of my experience and brainstorm about experiences of others, how to live a better life, not just in your knees and in your buttocks and in your shoulders, but here. What is it that makes us thrive? What is it that makes us scared, and how to let go of it? Because life is short. One of the mottos that I always use is, imagine you're dying. You
are. Well, my favorite one of yours is,
maybe it's not a good mention.
No, don't mention that one now. I'll leave you with another one. My favorite one of yours is, you're special, just like everybody else.
You remember this.
Well, yes, I listen to you. Yes.
Heather, it's so good to see you.
You too.
And it's good for us to have these conversations so that it's not a big tsunami and the end of the world, because it isn't. Yes. Waves are like that. A fun wave comes, a challenging wave comes. When we're on top of the hill, we rest, we thrive, we enjoy and have fun. When we're on the bottom of that hill, we expand, we relish, we get strong, so that when we get on top, we arrive.
Well, I'm right there with you, sister.
We need to remind ourselves that no matter what happens, we can do it.
Yes.
And if we don't survive, is that such a bad thing? There is nothing yet that we haven't survived.
That's true. Survive and thrive. That's my mantra these days.
So let's live a little. And I'm going to have a glass of bubbly tonight.
Nice.
Mark was so kind. He bought a bottle of bubbly. So I'll celebrate the learning experiences of this time.
Wonderful. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
See
Thank
you.
you.
Ride the waves. Bye.
Bye.